carbon fiber guitars are something of a mystery to me. Allegedly, this technology is used to enhance durability, make the guitar more resistant to temperature and humidity changes, and produce a more consistently loud and resonant sound. So when Enya asked me to check out one of their new carbon fiber guitars, I did the thing any rational person would do. Frankie Carbone this carbon fiber guitar, that's a Goodfellas reference, and see if those claims of durability can hold up to something as lethal to a guitar as a chest freezer. What's up everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Taylor. I have this Enya Inspire guitar. You probably saw the intro already. But anyways, I have this Enya Inspire guitar. We can take all the stuff off of it, right? Like you get it. How do I get that? I got a little tricky guy there. Now we have the Enya Inspire guitar in this cool purple burst sort of finish. I actually really like the finish on this guitar. You know, when they sent me the photos, I was a little bit unsure, but you know, now I feel pretty good about it. I am gonna take this guitar through my normal setup process, so I'll give you guys like details that aren't in the spec sheets, like the, you know, neck thickness, things like that. Things that I might notice that you might wanna know. Anyways, I also wanna test the carbon fiberness of this guitar. It's something that I thought about when I was thinking about, you know, making this video. How do I test the claims of carbon fiber guitar? Well, it turns out I have a chest freezer. I didn't think about it. So we're gonna check this guitar out. We're gonna do a setup. I'm gonna put it in my chest freezer like some sort of mob hitman or something like that. We'll see if it affects the neck at all, because allegedly this whole guitar is made out of carbon fiber, like even the fretboard and everything and the nut. So, you know, why don't I just read you the specs? That's a good segue, right? This is the Enya Inspire. It is a full carbon fiber guitar with a carbon fiber nut and 0 fret design. The scale length is 648 millimeters. Why did they put this in millimeters? Who does a scale length in millimeters? The scale length is 648 millimeters, which comes out to 25.5 inches, just a little bit more actually. For frets, we have medium, round head, high crown frets. Like I mentioned, the body is listed as carbon fiber with a unibody casting. This guitar comes in an HSS pickup configuration. Now these are Enya's own in-house voice pickups, and that will come into play later on when we use the built-in speaker. Speaking of the built-in speaker, we have an Enya AR technology vibration-free speaker with a max power output of 15 watts. It also has Bluetooth version 5, which kind of leads me into the unique characteristic of this guitar, you know, aside from it being carbon fiber. It actually has built-in effects emulation, and you can play through this built-in speaker. Now you can use it as a normal guitar as well. That is my preferred application, but I will go over the built-in effects, the app, and the speaker as well in this video. There's also a USB-C port for charging the guitar or using it directly into your computer as an audio interface, and a 3.5mm headphone jack as well. Okay, so if you were unaware or you're not familiar with these guitars, they do have built-in effects. Let's go ahead and use that. You turn that on by holding down this little button right here. Now you can use this like a normal guitar. I mean, you probably already saw me playing through it. Duh. But you can use this as a normal guitar. And we can press this button to switch between presets as well. Now, it's not insanely loud. I mean, that shouldn't be surprising. I mean, it's a little tiny 15-watt speaker that's built into a guitar. But what's interesting about it, and I don't know if any of you remember this, I'm gonna take you back on some nostalgia for the 90s kids here. Casio made this guitar with a built-in speaker in the 90s. It was sold through Toys R Us, which is a toy store that's like now defunct. And when I was a kid, I wanted one of these guitars so bad. It was barricaded behind the plexiglass with all the Super Nintendo games and stuff. So in this weird way, this sort of scratches this nostalgia itch for me. I would say that this is aimed towards a type of person who's traveling maybe. Like this would be a really good travel guitar, because you can just plug it in and just jam with the speaker or plug headphones directly into it. Especially with the carbon fiber aspect of this guitar, I would think that that would lend itself to being a travel guitar. We'll test that out, but I digress. So it uses the same app as their other guitars. We have presets here. Everything's organized in a high gain distortion, overdrive clean. You know what, they sent me a foot switch too. Let me grab that thing so I can show you the foot switch. Okay, so, I don't have a camera on my feet, but you get the idea, right? It comes with a prepared foot switch. Okay, I think we get the point, right? It does come with an app. The app does have effects. This is not my preferred way to use this. I would actually prefer to use this through an actual amplifier here. So let's go ahead and plug this in. I didn't pick out this rig for any particular reason. It just was like the amp that I had closest to me. And when you use it as an actual guitar, this knob is your volume. You know, these guitars have this very like kind of punchy sound to them. It's one of the things that I actually like about them quite a bit. Okay, so here's a clean channel so we can listen to the pickups. This is the bridge pickup. Here is position 2. Position 3. Position 4. And the neck. So you can see this is a guitar that has a lot of diversity in the tones that it can produce, minus the effects and the speaker that's built into it. Like if we just look at it as a guitar on its own. The other things I would say that I'm initially noticing from playing this guitar is the neck does feel very comfortable. It feels thin this way, like it feels narrow, but it does feel a little bit thicker than what I'm used to, like this way depth-wise. Let's do some chugga chugga, yeah? Now I'm using the new 𝐒𝐏𝐄𝐒 module for the Synergy system. I don't know why that's so hard to say, but I'm using the new 𝐒𝐏𝐄𝐒 module. It's a very like mid sort of aggressive modded Marshall sort of sound. And this guitar is already really mid-heavy and punchy. Which is really cool if you like that sort of sound. There's a lot of buildup in the mid to low mid range, and depending on what you like out of a guitar, you might prefer that, you might not prefer that. It's pretty noticeable. It was noticeable with the Enya Nova Go Sonic that I demoed a while back as well. The reason that I haven't boosted this amplifier yet is because I don't want to tighten up the low end. I wanted to demonstrate how thick sounding this guitar is. For a guitar that weighs only 6 pounds, this produces a surprisingly thick guitar tone. Let's do one more tone here real quick, one that I think probably more people are familiar with, a 6505, and then we'll go set this thing up and put it in the, you know, ice chest and see what happens to it. I mean, people have heard of a 6505, right? That's like a common thing. All right, Red Channel 6505, the most stock metal tone ever. All right, I'm kind of trying to figure out how exactly I would like to do this, because do I set up the guitar and then put it in the freezer for our test, or do I like set it up afterwards? Either way, we got to get a bass line. So let's just get it up on the bench here and see what happens. Okay, this neck is not perfectly straight at the moment, so I'm going to grab the tool that came with us to adjust the neck, and let's make this neck perfectly straight before we deep freeze it. Quick little note here, this neck adjusted like very, very easily. I mean, we had a gap here and now we're almost perfectly straight, and I barely turned it at all. The interesting thing, the kind of like I wonder about, is if this is pure carbon fiber, which you can tell it's not, you know, it doesn't look like the hood of a car from Fast and Furious. It's obviously some sort of carbon fiber composite. You know, if that's the case, why does it even have a neck adjustment? Because, you know, my understanding is that carbon fiber should be straight no matter what. Even putting a tremendous amount of pressure on the neck would not require an adjustment. But feel free to correct me in the comments if I am wrong on that. I didn't do a tremendous amount of research on carbon fiber before this video or anything. So anyways, let me show you where we're at with the neck. There's little to no gap there at the 12th fret. So we're gonna see how much that changes. To be honest with you, my concern isn't so much the guitar. My concern is kind of the electronics. I think by doing this, I might actually completely destroy the built-in effect system and the speaker and everything. But you know, I want to see what it does to the guitar. So that's just a risk I'm willing to take, I guess. Maybe I can just put like a bag over the body, a trash bag over the body, and tape it. I mean, it would be nice to not completely destroy this guitar by doing this, you know, specifically the electronics. So we'll put a trash bag over like the body here. I have procured a water balloon. You can see it's very liquid right now. So let's go ahead and, I don't know why I'm going through all this effort. Not like we're doing a proper science experiment here, but I just figured I'll do this for funsies. We're gonna write TD, today's the 12th? 412 on it, so that way you know. It's this water balloon, right? That's what it looks like. Now, if I wanted to deceive you for some weird reason, I could go to all the trouble of replicating this water balloon, but to be honest with you, I don't really care. If this thing gets ruined in here, like, you know, too bad, so sad. Let's go ahead and put this guitar in my freezer here. Okay, I'm leaving the tension on the strings and everything. If you're asking why I'm putting this water balloon in here right now, I just want some sort of gauge for how long this has been freezing. This is a very much water balloon right now. So I want enough time to pass, and I'm not sure exactly how, maybe that's later on tonight, maybe that's tomorrow morning, but I want to make sure that this balloon is ice by the time I pull this out. Okay, so here we go. It's a little after 10 o'clock at night. That guitar has been in my chest freezer for maybe about 12 hours. 11 hours, something like that. I think I'm ready to pull it out and check it. I'll explain why I'm not leaving it in there overnight in a second. It's very cold to the touch. Let's check this balloon here. It's just a solid ball of ice in here. Probably anything that was going to happen to this guitar would have happened now, or at least I hope. I don't know the validity of what I'm doing. It just seemed kind of extreme. And the reason that I'm not leaving it in there overnight, I have to finish this video tomorrow. I'm like out of time. I have to finish it. So if I left it in there overnight, then I would have to wait potentially for it to like thaw, I guess, tomorrow. And I just don't have the time to do that. So, you know, we're going to go with 12 hours. But, you know, that's why I left the balloon in there, because we know the balloon froze completely all the way through. Let's cut this bag off and see if the electronics work. I can feel like the outside of the bag is kind of damp, so I mean it prevented some water from getting inside there. Oh my god, you can see, hold on before I unwrap this, you can actually see the frost on the fretboard right here, all over the headstock too. That's all frost. Looks like mold or something, but it's actually frost. You know, I just want to emphasize to you, for whatever happens for the rest of this video, this guitar's been through some shit. Okay. Okay, I actually don't see any frost. Oh no. Moisture definitely got in below the bag. Okay, so, you know, it's a sparkle guitar too, so it's actually hard to see frost on the body of the guitar, but you can definitely see it on the fretboard. Yeah, if you look, you can see how frosted this thing is. Frost on this knob right here. Oh my god, there's actually like ice. I can like scrape it off. Okay, let's see if it turns on. Holy shit, it turned on, and then it died instantly. The fact that it tried to turn on is actually a good thing. It could just be, you know, that the extreme cold temperature killed the batteries in this thing, which would be super common. It happens like with cameras and stuff too. So I'm gonna check and see if the neck has moved at all. Our hope would be that it hasn't, and it hasn't. So like you can see here, hopefully, the neck really hasn't moved at all. We're specifically looking right there around the 12th fret. That's where it would move the most, either by bowing, which means the neck would be dipping down towards the table, or by warping, which would mean 12th fret of the neck would be moving up away from the table. But if you can see there, and apologies, I can't get super close with this camera, there's like just barely a gap in between the ruler and the 12th fret, meaning this neck hasn't moved at all. Did I scientifically prove anything with this test? No idea. You know, so far it seems to be holding up pretty well. I'm gonna have to let this guitar thaw out overnight, let all this ice melt, check this tomorrow, set it up, and then go listen to it again. And hopefully the electronics are okay. Hopefully I didn't ruin the electronics. But I mean, I can tell you, as of right now, the neck didn't move, so I think that's a pretty good sign. Yeah. Okay, it's 9 o'clock the following morning. This looks pretty dry. We obviously like don't have any frost or anything on this anymore. Let's check the neck now. Little to no movement. If anything, maybe that gap has closed a tiny bit, but it is pretty much where it was before we froze this guitar and right after we took it out of the freezer. So it really hasn't moved much through this whole process, which I think is a great result for the instrument itself. I'm a little worried that I might have fried the electronics though. Let's see here. Oh no, it actually turned on. Okay. Yesterday when I was trying to turn it on, maybe there was just like some water vapor or some frost in there or something stopping it. I'm really surprised by this test. I would imagine that if I put a normal just wood guitar in a freezer like that for 12 hours or whatever it was, that we would have some definitely different results. But maybe, I don't know, there's probably someone down in the comments that's like, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, let's finish setting this up. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna point out here is don't do what I just did. Basically, when I was trying to push the strings out of the bridge, which you guys just saw, they kept hitting this back plate, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna be a smart guy and remove the back plate and make my life easier. However, when I opened up these little rubber, you know, protector things to protect the screws, there are these stickers. Hopefully my camera focuses in enough for you to see that, but there's these little stickers on top of the screws with Chinese writing on them. I'm assuming that says, don't take this off, stupid. But, you know, I did anyways, and there is a wire attached to this back plate, and I don't know what it connects to. This is how you access the lithium-ion battery, which is probably why they have this all closed off and they don't want people going in here. So while I'm in here, I can tell you that, you know, if you needed to swap out this lithium-ion battery, you just pop this off and, you know, replace it, which is nice. However, I might have just made this not work. So if you're changing strings and you hit that backplate and you just think to yourself, oh, I'm just gonna take the backplate off, it'll be easy. Don't, just, you know, take the extra 2 seconds to get them out through the holes. I found where this thing is supposed to be connected. And if you look right in there, it's a little bit difficult to see, but this thing just pops right off. You can see this other one that's over here, but this one right here, you just use your finger and ever so delicately push that thing back onto the board. So, you know, if you're a big dum-dum like me, and you do this, and you find yourself in that position, well, there you go. That's how you fix it. Okay, now that that fiasco is behind us, let me measure the neck here, because I want to see how thick this neck actually is. It's messing with my senses a little bit because I do feel like it's thicker, but I feel like it's thinner this way. So we're going to measure both of those actually. So up here at the first fret, wow, that's actually very surprising. We are 20.81 millimeters. And up here at the 12th fret, 22.18. I would call that medium to thin. You know, it's actually surprisingly thinner than I thought it was gonna be. And then let's just measure the nut for good measure. I'll be here all week. 42.41 millimeters at the nut. I know that doesn't always answer what does the neck feel like, but it's better than nothing, right? Now the real question with the neck is, do I oil the fretboard? Because apparently this is carbon fiber. And I'm not too familiar with this, but if you look at it, it looks like a dry amaranth or something like that, you know, just with no grain. So I guess I'm just gonna clean it like I normally would. I mean, I don't think it's gonna hurt anything to just clean it like I normally would, so we're just gonna do that and roll with it. Okay. Ultimately, this was a very easy guitar to set up, and there's not really any concerns that I have or anything. I did clean up the fretboard here, and I figured at minimum I just needed to clean it because, you know, it was pretty dirty, probably from putting it in my freezer, you know, and having all that frost from God knows whatever's in my freezer sticking to the fretboard. So I cleaned it off. It looks much better now. We do have a 0 fret up here, and I didn't explain this earlier, but if you don't know what a 0 fret is, essentially this takes pressure off the nut and makes tuning and intonation easier, allegedly. So that's what a 0 fret is all about. If you're looking at that, like, why is there a fret up here? I did drop the height on the bridge, not really a big deal. This is actually a pretty nice bridge. And if you saw my video recently where I upgraded my Jackson Warrior, one of my favorite guitars ever, you'll notice that I put the same black nickel hardware on that guitar. So, you know, it's something that I really appreciate. I like this hardware a lot. I like the way that black nickel looks. I even like this knob. I think it's pretty unique. And as far as neck movement goes, I did put a heavier gauge string on these, and I tuned it to D standard instead of E standard with 10 gauge strings on it. And we're almost exactly the same. I mean, it's pretty much perfectly flat. The tiniest gap at the 12th fret. Now, when I took the strings off, I did want to see if there was any flex in the neck, and there was a little bit. The straight edge was rocking a little, meaning the tension from the strings wasn't pulling the headstock this way. So, you know, what does that say about carbon fiber necks or this guitar in general? I don't really know, but I just wanted to relay that information to you. I would say that in my experience with something like a maple neck or something, there wasn't as much movement as there was, but there definitely is some movement, which makes sense now why it has a truss rod. So, I don't know much about carbon fiber guitars. I just know that that's a thing that I read, that carbon fiber necks don't have truss rods because they don't move, but in the case of this guitar, it does move a little bit. Let's plug it in and see what it sounds like. You know, it's not every day that I get the opportunity to freeze a guitar. You know what I mean? And I did it without destroying it. Hey, there's one thing that I forgot to mention here, and it's gonna be weird, but I'm gonna do my best to show you how this works. But you can actually use these effects through the 1/4 inch output into an amplifier. So if this was a clean amplifier, like a power amp, something. I mean, you'll have to use your imagination there because I'm going through amp emulation and effects into a preamp and through a, you know, it's not the way to use it. But I just wanted to mention that it does work that way. It's just a very, very thick sounding guitar, and it's not unlike the other Enya. You know what? I have the other Enya guitar. Let's just plug it in. Yeah, just a very, very thick sounding guitar. You know, this one is a 𝐓𝐻 configuration. It's got 2 humbuckers in it. But it feels almost identical under the hands, despite, I actually prefer the bridge on the Inspire. That's just a preference thing. It's not like one's better than the other. Something that's very noticeable, where's the input jack? Well, one thing that's noticeable is you gotta kind of look at the input jack. It's a little weird to do it off of field just because there's so many holes down there. That's what she said. One thing that I will say about setting this guitar up is I got the action so low on this guitar, and I'm attributing that to how straight the neck is. With this one in particular, I was able to get the neck super duper straight, and the fretwork is very good. So I was able to get the action incredibly low on this. Yeah, man, it sounds crazy. I gotta say, overall, I'm pretty impressed with this guitar. Part of that might be the fact that I just put it in a chest freezer and, you know, it came out working and sounding just fine. And I don't have a lot of experience chest freezing guitars, so, you know, take that for what it's worth. But I think it's at least something, you know, it's better than not testing the carbon fiber claims, right? And with all that said, just looking at this as a guitar, right? Because we do have the built-in speaker, we do have the built-in effects. If you're after that, cool. I just want to look at this, you know, from a guitar perspective. I think as a guitar, it's built really well. It's very comfortable. It plays really well. Everything is super smooth. Like, just the ergonomics of this guitar are really great. I forgot to mention this during the setup, but I really do like this claw in the back. This is so much of a better design than having 2 screws just, you know, screwed into the wood. But yeah, setting it up was really easy. Just don't make the mistakes that I made. And I think if I'm looking at the guitar and just being objective based off those merits, I just think that, you know, the built-in effects and other features, you know, the intelligent features of the guitar, so to speak, are just like bonuses, you know? All right, shout out to Enya for sending me these guitars to check out for you guys. Shout out to you for being here with me. I really appreciate every single one of you. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button. If you really like what I do here on this channel, consider being super OP at getting behind the scenes access and joining these beautiful people over here on Patreon. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.